Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're an oldie but a goodie, welcome back. This is take 3 of how to budget. So if you like watching these kind of videos, keep on watching. Alright guys, so you have print out your expenses, you have figured out what is going. You have decided whether or not you want to open the 4 different bank accounts or not. That's up to you. And now, I don't think I said it in the next video, but once you get to this aspect of it, you should be having your direct deposits into each account. So the way we had it was once we calculated our sinking funds and our personal, clearly we only deposited what we needed into the sinking fund. So we had direct deposited the 1,800 into our sinking funds, then we had the 400 into our personal, and then the 400 into the other personal, and then the difference went into the main account. Now the reason we put the difference into the main account is that because the main account is our budget, sort of the way we do our budgeting. So anything that's extra actually goes to whatever you're paying down or into your savings. So it goes into your main account. Anything after that goes straight into your main account, and that's how you end up technically budgeting. So now let's go to the next step. Once you have figured out your expenses, you figured out your sinking funds, now you have all your direct deposits the way they're supposed to go. Now you figure out how you're going to do your budget. So here we go. Let's start our budget. So the first thing we're going to do is, ta-da, you're going to get your monthly. So once you, obviously now you know, because you printed out all of your expenses, you know exactly when things come out. So you're gonna be able to write it down in your budget book. So the first thing you're gonna do is set up your, obviously your calendar. So I decided to be orange for March. So we're gonna put our calendar here. Obviously, we're not in March, but I am catching up to all of my monthlies that I did already. And this was the best way to explain how we're doing our budget, or how you do count your coin. So March has 31 days. Wow. 31 days. See, this is why I did the 5 weeks. All right, now once you have that set up, now you know when your bills are out, or when your bills come out, because technically you printed them out, so you know when they come out. So we have VEC on the 1st. We have life insurance on the 5th. So I put what they are and the amount that comes out. We have Best Buy, but that's a debt, so I leave it blank. UI is 231. Progressive is our car insurance, and that's 161.06. Then I have WPCA, 57.37. We have the Ford, 497, and that's the truck. Then we have 21st. It's our TN mortgage, 1130.10. Then we have Marcus, which is a loan, 610.96. Green Sky is $3.05. Southern Connecticut gas is $132. I have T-Mobile, but that one we never know the amount, so I leave it blank. That's my cushion. I have Frontier is our internet, $59.99. Vivint is our security system, $27.25. Our other life insurance, $33.95. Donation. And that's it. Now, once you look at it this way, now you must go in and put in when you get paid. So, we get paid on the 15th and the last day of the month, but it fell on a Sunday, so I know it's going to come out on the 29th. Then we get child support every Monday. So that's $sign for every Monday. And I get C4K on the first Wednesday of every month. So that's a side hustle there. And I think that's it for now. Oh, no. And I think we get, on the beginning of the month, we also get the life insurance money. Not life insurance. What is it called? Oh, the disability. So that one comes in here somewhere, in between here. So we can put it there. Now I don't put in the amounts because one, they don't fit, and every month is actually the same. So I don't care about the amount. I actually care about when they coming in. So there you have it. That's the monthly view. That's what you're supposed to do with your monthly budget. All right, so once you set this up, the next thing you're gonna set up is your debt tracker. So this, you have to log into all your debt, and you must go in and obviously get the balances that you owe. So clearly I already did that. So once you have that, then you can go ahead and do this part. The other thing you need to know, if this is your first time, is you need to know the due dates, and you need to know the interest that you're being charged, if that's something that you want to know, and the minimum payment that is due. I don't really care for the due date, so I'm not gonna put it in there. I mean, I do have it if I need them. Let's see, there's somewhere. Let's see. Hold on. All right, so once you have pulled the information, for here you can either go from smallest to largest, or you can do by interest rate, the highest interest rate first to the less interest rate. I usually go from smallest to largest unless we do have a high interest rate, but all of ours are mainly 0% interest except for the house and the car. So right now, the debt that we are paying, usually we're doing from smallest to largest. In the beginning, we did go by interest, so this is based on how you feel you want to pay your debt. We're doing smallest to largest. At one point, we did do the highest interest rate, so we don't pay that much interest. So it's up to you. Once you have them all in a list, maybe that's how you can decide. If you do have a high balance with a high interest, then obviously maybe you want to knock that one down a little bit so you don't get a high interest paying them a high interest rate or a high interest amount. And you can decide when you have your list going. So let it be up to you. So clearly it's pretty basic. Is the name, the due date, the interest rate, the minimum amount that you have to pay, not what you pay, but the minimum amount that's due, and then the balance of the amount of the account. That's basically it. So now that you have all of your debt in order, on whichever way you prefer to pay your debt, now you go on to the next task, which is your spending tracker, which is your register. And then here, the only thing you need to do is obviously name it to whatever you're gonna name it to. This is my main account. Whatever you're keeping track of, you can name it. And as of right now, we're putting the balance that we have to start with. Next thing you want to start with is your category balance. And the category balance is basically income, things that you're keeping track of, bills, debt, donation, home, and savings. So clearly it's very specific. You just have to put whatever the prior month was, the new month, and your total. If you don't have a prior month because you're just beginning, then you just have to wait until your end of the March, like your closing number, to put in the new month and the total. So clearly we don't have anything here, so you can just leave it blank until you're closing your March. And then you can go ahead and put your new numbers in if this is you beginning. Obviously, I've been doing this for a while, so I have my prior numbers. So I can go ahead and put what I had for my total since February. And then as the month goes by is where you get your new month number. Then if you're wondering where your categories come from, clearly they come from your register, your spending tracker. If I go back to my February, here are the categories that you'll see. And I have like all of my bills are bills, my debt, obviously the category is debt, donations, if I gave any donation money, home is anything we're spending in Tennessee, and savings is anything that we've been transferring over to savings. Those are the categories that we have. Let's see. I also have fallen into doing like a fee, like bank fees, because if we put a stop to a check, or like if the bank charged me some kind of fee, then I do keep track of that as well. But as of March, we didn't have any, so that doesn't need to go there. And then this number for the new month is actually for March. And this would happen once you calculate everything when you're done in the month of March. Then what happens is you total the prior month with the new month to get your total number here, which is the prior month starting in April. So like my prior month here is actually the total for February on here. So if I show you February's, nope, I don't have it in here, sorry. If I show you February's, so here is the categories total for the February, which it was January's. February's gives us the total for March. So as you can see, I hope you can see, yeah. So 23,350, the 54,0121, the 40,11, the 200, the 1160, and the 14,394.15. So that's where that number comes from. The next step would be getting your balance for your sinking funds, if that's what you're keeping track of in another account. So that's what we're doing. And I'm calling it my sinking funds. And my starting balance for here is whatever is in the bank account, which is $39.48.59. Then once you have your cashless sinking funds that you know what do you want to have in it, that is going to balance the $39.48.59. They go here for you to keep track of them. So let's get started on that. All right, so when you get to this step, I think this is like the most exciting step, is because you need to decide on some colors for you to know. Well, you don't have to. This is the exciting part of my life that I love about sinking funds, is that you get to color. And we have colors for each category, which is an envelope. And gives me sort of like a visual of how much I'm spending in that category. So I picked, obviously, these colors. I try to keep them in the same format, whether it's a different shade of pink or a different shade of purple. I try to change them around every year. But it still stays almost similar to the yellow or similar to the green. The only one that always stay red is obviously Christmas. But all the other ones is a shade of. Now, I did put envelopes going, clearly there's 12 envelopes in a page. And 12 envelopes on this side. That's 24 envelopes. That's a lot of envelopes for a person to keep track of. I just put that many because when I first started, I did have a lot of envelopes. But as you can see right now, I don't. I only have, I think, 9. Yeah, we only have 9. So as time goes by, clearly, you will realize that you don't need the amount of envelopes that you're actually spending on. So I would try to clearly eliminate as much envelopes so you don't have to keep track of so many envelopes. But now each color represents an envelope. So my pink is my groceries. The purple is our taxes. The gray is my memberships. The yellow is for my car. The red is Christmas and gifts. The brown is, I call it clothes, but it's really clothes, nails, haircut, all goes under that bucket. Christmas and gifts is together. The car is the gas and repairs. Groceries is actually the toiletries and physical groceries. Then I have home. And then we have medical. And then I have other. And then my medical, I have co-pays. I have, like, whenever I go to the pharmacy to buy Thermaflu, any co-pays to get my medications. If we walk into the doctors and there's a payment I gotta make for medical, that's what the medical is for. If I gotta buy Mr. Campbell a new blood pressure machine, that's the bucket that I use. Other, I don't physically been using other. It's just there for now. It's sort of like an extra cushion just in case something else does pop up that is not part of any of the categories. Then I take it out of there. I used to have a dog, so it was a Nina bucket, but now she's not here, so, and we don't have any pets. So I just made it into an other. Now the beginning balances is obviously the total. It has to be the 39, 48, 59 because that's what you're starting with. So obviously when you do your first direct deposit, clearly it's not going to have any change. I've been doing this for a while, so mine's does have change. But let's say yours is 1,800, then you have to figure out how much each bucket has to take. And then that's where the funding part came out of, where you needed to figure out how much groceries you need for the month in your envelope. So we usually end up, like with groceries, our envelope is $4.55 a month, but that's for groceries and toiletries. But in order to get to this number, our previous balance that came over was $487.78 for groceries, $814 for taxes, $218.10, $894.07, $347.48, $332.30, $381.56 for the home, $309.86, $177.30 for other. And then if you total all these envelopes, the total should be, or it is, the $39.48.59. So that's how you start. Let's say, so to give it a better sort of understanding, is once you figure out all of your buckets, let's say you have, so let's go to the notebook. Let's say your buckets are going to be 1,800 and you got your direct deposit in for 1,800. And then let's say you're going to have groceries, Christmas, home, medical, right? Let's say clothes. These are typical things that people have. Clothes, let's say for the car, right? And this is how much you decided to fund monthly to all of these on your sinking funds. So you figured out that groceries, I don't know. Let me see. There's a calculator. I would say 300 for groceries. So now we got to reduce the 300. Let's say 50 for Christmas every month. Let's say 200 for home. Let's say 250 for medical. Let's say 200 for clothes. Let's say 400 for a car. I still got more money. I still got 400. So let's put 400 in groceries. 150. 250. You might have more envelopes for all I know. So let's see, 400, 150, 250, 250, 200, 400, and I still have more money. All right, so let's say not 1,200. Let's say 1,650. We're playing pretend here so you guys can know. So let's say you decided that these were going to be your envelopes and your sinking funds, and you decided that each pay period you're going to reduce 1,650 from your paycheck. Now, this is a monthly amount. Now you got to figure out, how do you get paid? If you get paid once a month, then 1,650 would be it. If you get paid twice a month, you got to divide that by 2. That means every paycheck, $825 is going to go in there, not the $1,650. If you get paid every week, now you got to divide it by 4. That means every week, $412.50 is going to go into the account. So, let's say your first paycheck is, let's say you get paid weekly. So that means every week, $412.50 goes in. That means all of these, you have to divide by 4. So the groceries, you got to divide it by 4. That's going to be 100. The 150 divided by 4, you got 37.50. 250 divided by 4, you got 62.50. 62.50. 200 divided by 4, you got 50. And you have 100. So when you total this becomes your $412.50 that was direct deposited. That's what you're going to put on the top of here. That's going to be your balance. So if you got your first direct deposit of $412.50 for each envelope, and that's what your balance is on your checking account, then you have to divide your sinking funds by the amount. So here is your $412.50, and then your grocery is going to be 100. Your Christmas is going to be $37.50. That's your beginning balance. I hope that makes sense. If you get paid twice a month, then you got to divide that by the 2, which is the $825. So that means it's not this one. That means you got to divide the groceries by 2. So instead of 400, it's going to say 200. Instead of 150, it's going to say 75. Instead of 250, 250 divided by 2, 125. And then 125. Then divided by 2 is 100. And then this is 200, which equals your 825. So your 825 will be here in your register. And then your beginning balance is going to be this breakdown for each envelope. And that's what you start with. So that means if you go grocery shopping the next day, it has to be less than $200 because you have only $200 for groceries. Do not go spending $825 of groceries because you just stole from Peter to pay Paul, which is you stole from all the other buckets to pay for your groceries. And that's not how it works. You can only go by what you have in your envelope. So for groceries, you only have $200 until you get paid the next 2 weeks. That means $200 for the next 2 weeks. It's $825 if you get paid twice a month. If you get paid weekly, that means you only have $100 in your bucket until you get paid the following week for you to fund your envelope. I hope that makes sense. All right, so I hope that makes sense on how you start your beginning balances. Obviously, I've been doing this for since 2017, so my balances are more than what technically a envelope should probably have. Some of these accumulate money for when the time comes, like the taxes. It keeps accumulating in there until we pay our taxes, I think in June or July. The big bill comes in, and it's usually with everything is over $1,000 because that's for the car taxes, that's the sewer tax, and then it's the 2 taxes for the Tennessee properties, which we pay a maintenance for the roads. So it accumulates the whole entire year until July comes, and then I take that lump sum and write a check to all these places, and then it reduces again, then it funds again, and so forth. The same thing with membership. I want to say some of them are monthly, like the Paramount Plus. Let's say you got Hulu or Netflix. If you want to do monthly, You can do it that way. If you want to do yearly, some places are yearly, and technically it accumulates in there, the amount that you spent for the membership. I usually do yearly because yearly actually comes out cheaper than buying a monthly. And then what happens is I figure out how many memberships we actually have, how much they cost for the year, divided by the 12. Then I divide that obviously into our direct deposit. So some of them are yearly, some of them are monthly. So that accumulates as well. I want to say the clothing at first it was not accumulating, basically, because Bella was constantly needing something. Now she's older, so she hasn't changed her physical size. So technically we're not constantly buying anything unless like she needs a new pair of sneakers or something like that. So clothing, technically it's sort of now accumulating because of her age. Obviously we don't change in size either, so now it's sort of accumulating as time goes by. The same thing with Christmas. Christmas is really accumulating until I start shopping November. Sometimes if I find a good deal, I haven't done it this year because we're moving to Tennessee, but usually throughout the year, if I see something that I know one of the kids want and I see it on sale, then I end up buying it. And that's something you can do if you have the money in there. But technically, in the beginning, it was really accumulating until November when I got the Black Friday deals, and then I would use that lump sum and go buy the stuff that we need for each kid, back in the day, 5-7 years ago. But as far as the other ones, they sort of roll as time goes by. Medical is being used as we go by. But the ones that accumulate the most is actually taxes, membership, and Christmas is more accumulating and waiting for that time. Groceries, we're using it all the time. Car, because of the gas. Maintenance every 3 months. That's always rotating around. So, yep, that's how you get your, obviously, you need to figure, that's why you need to go and print out, take one of the video. You need to go out and see how much you spend on things. Try to figure out if that's actually within your budget, because then you got to figure out if you make enough money to be spending that kind of money, and figuring out what your budget should be. So, and then you can know how much you should be spending in each category. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching. God bless. Don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys on video 4.